Have you ever been scared about seeing a chiropractor because it might sound scary or it might look scary, especially when people get their neck adjusted? Yeah, it can happen, right? So, we're going to talk about different ways of approaching chiropractic adjustments so that maybe will hopefully help reduce some of your concerns or your fears about it. So, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Dr. Anjali. I'm the founder of Back in Balance, and I'm actually a non cracking, non popping chiropractor and integrative functional nutritionist. So, I really love helping families and workplaces help their employees really optimize their health by moving well, eating well, and living well. And I'm particularly passionate about working with families to help optimize the what I call the 5 trimesters of pregnancy from preconception to postpartum care. So let's dive in to all things chiropractic today. Interestingly, when I was in chiropractic school, I used to be what we called ourselves audible junkies in that we used to feel like, or I used to feel like, if I couldn't hear the adjustment take place, then I wasn't convinced that it had actually created a shift in the body. So I didn't feel like all the low force adjustments that I had been taught in school were really quite as effective. Then fast forward to being in practice. And when I started working in practice, I had taken over a practice after a few months of being an associate. But when I took over the practice, then I started getting people who were coming in who were really nervous about getting their neck adjusted. So they were okay with the rest of their back being adjusted manually. But when it came to their neck, they really wanted either to just not have me touch it at all or to not adjust it manually. So we had to start coming up with other ways or kind of pulling out of other resources out of the tool belt, which I had kind of tucked away for a period of time in order to still continue helping people because I'm very much of the belief that everything is connected in our bodies. And even if somebody is just coming in with low back pain, I still feel like it can impact other parts of our spine very profoundly, but also other areas of our body. So it's really hard for me, and I actually don't look at just one section of the spine. I actually look at what's happening in the whole spine because I don't know how the body has compensated and adapted. But I had these people who were really nervous about getting their neck adjusted. So I had to start using some other techniques to still work on their necks and still stay in their comfort zone. And so it was interesting because I also at the same time frame was learning some techniques to work on people's pelvis and low back differently than what I had learned in school. And being of a fairly petite frame, I was a little concerned about working on people for many years to come, working on people who were larger than me and what that might mean physically for the toll on my body. So I was a little concerned about it, but I had started learning some other techniques from a couple of different mentors. And so I had been integrating that into working with people's low backs and pelvis. And now I was starting to use some other low force techniques for people's necks. So really I was only adjusting people's mid backs manually. And it was really interesting because over this period of time, we started recognizing, both from my perspective and also from my practice members, because many of them had been receiving chiropractic adjustments for a period of time, so we're quite familiar with how their body responded to it. And we started noticing that people actually were holding their adjustment better for a longer stretch of time, so they could go longer in between visits, because what we were starting to kind of put together was that our body has different kinds of fibers, right? In our muscles, we have fast twitch and slow twitch fibers. And a lot of times with the manual adjustment, because there's an element of speed and there's an element of force, and also the direction in which you're doing the adjustment and all of these things. But a lot of times in my experience, when I received a manual adjustment, sometimes it wasn't necessarily as fast. And so then there was a lot of force being applied behind it. And so by doing a low force approach, what we ended up seeing was that people were able to kind of hold the adjustment for a longer period because we were activating both sets of fibers, the slow twitch and the fast twitch. So it was kind of like the analogy of, if you're going to just reach for a glass of water or a cup of coffee or something, versus if you're actively trying to do a stretch, right? Allowing your body to recognize that there's a change taking place and that it's not just a fast movement. And fast forward another few months, and my practice had shifted to becoming entirely low force and really non cracking, non popping. And so then people started to become a lot more comfortable. And so we've had a lot of people who've brought their friends or family members who might have been curious about chiropractic, but a little nervous about actually getting the adjustment, who've just kind of come and observed to see what it looks like. And especially when we're working on newborns, like it often doesn't look like I'm doing much of anything. It often just looks like I'm holding them because there's just a very slow, gentle pressure that's being applied to help correct the misalignments in their spine. So similarly, when we work on adults, it doesn't matter your age. We are looking at how do we create alignment in the different parts of your spine right here so that we can really help optimize the function of your nervous system. If you'd like to chat more, please schedule a discovery call with me. I'd love to help explain either how my approach is different or what might be a good fit for you. So you can check out the discovery link below, and we'll see you next week.